All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, February 23rd, 2023. If not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. So anyways, let's get into the market here. Very choppy day. And again, kind of like yesterday, it almost feels like an options X day with the amount of whipsaw that we're having here in this market. So we had another gap up in the morning and then a pretty good sell-off. And this was a pretty, I used the word, I did a short video earlier, it's like demoralizing because you had this gap up. And again, like I said yesterday, after big moves down, you never really want to gap up. Bulls want to gap down to get the dip. And that usually leads to a sell-off. I also tweeted about this earlier. The fact that we have NVIDIA's earnings, and that's had a nice move off the lows, or off the intraday lows rather, but obviously up 14% on the day through that 50% fib. So there's still a lot of supply up here. I don't know if it gets to that 618, but that would be your next level. I think it's still pretty kind of stretched here, but hey, you gotta respect it. Big move there. But either way, my point I was making earlier is I said, look at NVIDIA's up 14%, and you're seeing the semis. The SMH, yes, it was up decently on the gap up here, but it kind of got rejected there at that 10-minute 200. Also, obviously now it looks different, but on an intraday basis, we got rejected at that daily 20 MA. And I said, this looks like distribution. You gap it up with very light volume, right? So it doesn't take much money to gap things up pre-market. And then you kind of just fade into it. And one of the other reasons I said that is because if you look at Tesla started to dip very quickly. It was earlier than everything else. Tesla and NVIDIA have been basically like almost positively correlated the last couple of weeks. And Tesla was starting to show weakness. Apple was pretty weak out of the gate here. I mean, it gapped up with everything, but it was not a good looking gap up. Apple went pretty negative today as well. And I said it started to look like distribution. Like, here's the dog and pony show, right? Here's NVIDIA. Look at NVIDIA. Everybody look at NVIDIA. Everyone look at NVIDIA. And then they're kind of just slowly kind of just inching out of other positions. And again, that's reflective in like names like Tesla that have been outperforming lately, which kind of switched to underperform today. Although again, everything to come off the lows. Obviously, we went into this daily trend line that we've been talking about. Again, another hit of the 50 MA. And it's being defended for right now. There's a couple of things going on here. The bottom line, though, is what I've been saying all week. It's really all about that 400 level there on the spiders. So tomorrow is the make or break move. The SPX here, that level is 40, 15, 55. So we're basically right on that right now, like literally right on that. And something tells me, and the same thing with the spiders there, we're just above that by a couple pennies. Something tells me tomorrow we're going to close right about here again. So right in this 400 area, it's just a matter of do we close above or below that green bar there. So that's really, and again, if you haven't been following, the reason why I'm saying that is because that's your weekly inverse head and shoulders. And it's also, there it is on the weekly. It's also that green bar low on the weekly. So that's an inside bar. If you close below that, that's failed. If that fails, we're probably going to go, 390 would be kind of an afterthought. I think you get to 385 pretty quickly when you have a failed pattern like that. But if not, then, the bulls can still kind of reclaim momentum. We did hit this trend line. This is the third hit. A lot of the time, the third hit usually holds up. It is, that's tends to be the case here. But we'll see. It's all about tomorrow's close here. A couple of things on an intraday basis. The hourly here, we kind of got a little, I don't show RSI that much, but we did get a little bullish divergence there. So a little kind of, you see the lower lows and then the higher lows there. So that was probably telling you that we were going to get some type of a bounce here. Again, going into that daily chart trend line, it's probably just a matter of time before we got some type of lift. However, that divergence isn't there on the 4-hour. So this is a pretty standard 4-hour here. And you also have, that's a 4-hour bear flag there. Kind of a megaphone pattern too. So we'll see. Maybe we get up there tomorrow. Let's draw this in. Actually, let's go back to the main studies there. So, you could actually, let's use the hourly. It's a little easier to see. There we go. But yeah, you can kind of into this megaphone here. And so it'd be interesting if we gap up tomorrow, do we sell off? If we sell off, do we close below? Do we close decisively below that 400 level? So it's just a couple of things to watch here, but I think that's probably your target tomorrow if we hold up into the close. I'm doing this video a little early. We're doing the live stream again on Thursdays, so for members only. So that's why I'm doing the video a little early. I mean, I don't see any reason why we can't hold up. VIXI's coming in. Look at all the red candles here on the VIXI today. Pretty nice sell. Also, there was a phantom print. I'm not sure if anybody else got it. I know a few people got a phantom print at 299. I want to say 299.50 or 299.75 on the triple Qs. So that would, that would take you up to 300 and that gap fill, which probably coincides, kind of in this area of that that kind of megaphone. Maybe this could, who knows, maybe you could draw this in a little bit differently, but it's up in that area. So you guys get the idea. But anyways, that's what I'm watching really going into tomorrow. Again, the 50 MA is holding bottom line, and the this trend line is holding bottom line, but those are minor to me. It's more so about that weekly print. We get the weekly close below all that, it's all negated, and I think any rip gets sold moving forward. If not, then the bulls can hang on a little bit longer. Maybe they can grind us up a little bit, possibly into March. We'll see though. Anyways, over to the triple Qs. So Qs hanging in there again, up 1% on the day. Again, NVIDIA doing a lot of the legwork. NVIDIA almost, when we were selling off earlier, this almost blew through that 230 level. And if that happened, I'd be shocked if we actually recovered here. But they did defend that area, because if we were able to close below these pivots here, I mean, that's a failed breakout. You got a lot of supply trapped in here, a lot of chasers trapped in here, and you just decimated the short. So now there's nobody to cover. But obviously that did not happen. So NVIDIA coming into the rescue here and saving the market here. So QQQ holding up okay. Again, same kind of deal here. Daily inside bar there, but right now it's holding that kind of flag pattern. It still had that failed breakout though, but again, we're watching those levels here. Into tomorrow, it's all about the spiders. Russell 2000 again was pretty weak earlier. We filled this gap the other day. It's hanging in there okay. It's trying to hold that 188 level. You're still inside of this red bar though. So again, until proven otherwise, you have an inside bar there on the daily time frame. And the diamond here continues to be weak, although it did go and test that 100 MA. So now we have lower lows here. So not a good looking chart there on the diamond. So, high, lower highs, and now you have lower lows. So Dow's starting to roll over a little bit. Which is a little interesting considering it's generally more of a risk. It's a risk off index. So, but you're also seeing the whole market down. So we'll see. Anyways, let's get over here. We talked about the semis already a little bit. We went over into that daily 20 moving average, filled the gap there. I don't like that. I just don't like this pattern here on the semis. We blew through this inside bar low. We confirmed below it. Not the greatest look here. On the weekly, you're still holding up okay. So the weekly is not technically broken yet. But again, I'm not thinking that the semis have much upside left in them. I think, honestly, everybody, the market kind of just blew its wad on NVIDIA, if you ask me, especially the semis specifically. Intel is kind of a mess here. That is barely hanging on there. AMD, not a great looking chart here. You close below this this green bar as well, back below the 200. You're above it now, but semis do look a little top heavy to me here. Could we, if the market does hold up, could we roll up here a little bit? Possibly. But I think that the top is probably in on the semis outside of maybe a nominal move, but we'll see what we get here. Obviously up today, 4% on the back of NVIDIA, of course. IGV here, so up just under 1% on the day, still below that 20 moving average. This is also starting to look a little weak. Not a great look here on IGV. It's not broken yet. Again, it's all about tomorrow, all about tomorrow's close, but not the greatest pattern here on the daily. The weekly's hanging in there okay. I would prefer, if for a bull side, I would prefer this consolidating much closer to that 200 moving average. But this looks more like a rejection here. But for right now, it's hanging in there okay. So we'll leave it at that. All right, over to the transports here. Again, transports getting a bounce. We talked about that 14.5 area. That got a nice little bid there today. This is one of the few things that didn't go red, or if it did, it just was barely here. Yeah, so it looks like it just barely kissed the flat line there today. But transport's hanging in there okay. Again, levels haven't changed. You still have resistance here at 15,000. 20-day moving average and this red bar high, that breakdown area. If you get through that, there's the gap fill up there, but that's what we'll be looking at for on the transports. And we'll just leave it at that, keep it simple. All right, over to rates here. So rates were interesting, kind of all over the map here. Take a look at the 2 years. So the 2 years down, just 3 basis points right now, or actually just 0.01%, 0.3 of a basis point. But look at the pattern here off the lows. So we had the jobs numbers earlier, and it was weird initially. So we had a cool jobs number, and 2 years sold off anyway. And so did the 30-year, but the 30-year with a much more robust move. So yield curve kind of inverting a little bit more. So today you see the 10-year also pushing up a little bit. I know 10s and 30s were inverting pretty good earlier. I think they came back in a little bit. Yeah, but the 2s and 10s and 3-month 10-year came in, that gap widened, I should say. But either way, they're getting a much needed bounce here. I mean, it's pretty oversold on the daily. There's the 10-year. 30-year, we talked about this pivot. They're trying to defend it, but this is still, this just goes sideways. This is a daily inside bar until proven otherwise. You do have a lot of volume here, and it's not even giving you a bounce. We talked about that yesterday, so not a great look there. And there's the 2-year. Lots of volume coming in. You're basically being defended at double bottom. At maybe the Fed came in today. I don't know. But either way, not a great look here for bonds, as we've mentioned many times. So really over the last year. All right, so XHB homes. Let's get into home and real estate here. So up 90 basis points here. Again, daily inside bar until proven otherwise. It's bouncing with everything else. Let's not make anything out of it. ITB, same thing there. So nothing too new to add. Again, VNQ, 0.5%. Not a great chart. Holding the 50 moving average for now. This is one of the first ones to roll over. If this gets a bid, you have a possible daily head and shoulders. But again, bottom line, we're still in this big channel, which is a bearish wedge. So again, just be aware of that. All right, XLF, again, hanging in there. Bounced off the 50. I talked about this the last couple of days. If this starts to go sideways here, that's a bear setup. So I do like the fins short here. I am short fins, just so you guys know, full disclosure. Little bit of a bounce off the low, off the lows here. We're coming back in a little bit. Seeing a few banks kind of bounce with everything else here, but not the greatest looking bounce. All things considered, you're basically just grinding above that 50 moving average. We had that broken rising wedge. This does look like it wants to go lower here. You'll have a good stop there around that moving average there, the 100 on the weekly. Again, you have the 50 in there as well. So right now, I think it needs to do some backing and filling, but I do not like this setup here for XLF on the long side. XPD also had a nice dump. It came off the lows as well. Still red on the day. But again, that beautiful fake out here, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4 days to the downside. We talked about 490 to 488 as support. Low of the day here, 487.50. Got a little bounce off that, so it's holding up for now. But again, this does look also very top heavy. All right, over to commodities. On to crude here. Nice bounce for crude, up 2.25. This is starting to look really weak though. I think any bear pattern here, if you get consolidation, I think this is getting ready to break down. So crude, it's had chances to get above 82.72. And it just has not been able to. So hasn't been able to get anything going right now. Still neutral on it until proven otherwise. If we get pattern, then this can be shorted. I might look at it myself. But right now I don't have anything else to go off of other than just a good weekly pattern. So anyways, XLE getting a bounce, 1.65% off the 200. That was expected here. Again, we'll see what it does. If this consolidates, it can go lower here. But energy's been so resilient all year long. Again, we'll see what it does here. I don't really have a bias on either of these. XOP getting a little bit of a bid here, so they're saving that kind of weekly level that we talked about yesterday. OIH also getting a bounce, but not a great bounce here. But they are saving the 100 moving average there. Again, tomorrow, watch this 308 area. So 308.31, we'll watch that tomorrow. If that is closed below, then that is a failed pattern. All right, on to Nat Gas. Natty finally getting a bit here, so that is up 9% now. Natty futures, we talked about cyclically, should bottom right around the 3rd week of February. That has happened here. I talked about, it's probably going to roll over here and curl out those longs because everybody was trying to buy this dip here. And I thought we had one more leg down here, and I think this is probably it. Hourly, nice sell-off yesterday morning. Again, my inbox was completely full here yesterday morning, and we came down into the 618, higher highs there, so now we're above 230. So nat gas getting above resistance. Next stop will be 250, which is right here where you broke down from. It'll be interesting if we get above that daily 20 moving average and above, I would say, the 260 area. I wouldn't even worry about 278 yet. 265. That area is probably going to give this a lot of juice here to the upside. So again, nat gas looking pretty good here. LNG reported Cheniere. They did guide up. They're up 10% right now. And again, all the futures contracts in nat gas are in contango all the way to January. So looking pretty good here, but we'll see. Take it one day at a time. It's got to get above that 20 moving average. So anyways, over to the dollar, DXY. Still holding up okay. It did fade off the highs a little bit, but it's still holding trend nicely. We did take some profits on our EUO position today. That is short the euro, basically long dollar, as well as our Netflix position too. That one is very oversold here on the daily time frame, but pattern wise this can still go a lot lower. But anyways, over the dollar index, still hanging in there okay. Again, probably wants to get up to that 105 area. It might need to do some stalling in that area, but I don't see any problems with it currently. Again, it should work its way up to 106. It might need to do some more backing and filling here, but I don't see any issues right now. You had a nice base, a breakout, and it's not like, blistering breakout, like getting overbought. It's just kind of grinding up. So dollar index looks decent here. And gold, on the other hand, still looks pretty weak. I would think it probably wants to hold this area, at least maybe for this week, but this is not a pattern of strength. You had a nice tail candle. You're retesting the lows now. If this consolidates more, this is going to want to set up to go lower. So gold, definitely on the weaker side here. Again, conversely to the dollar there. Silver, also a little bit of weakness here. Can't get above that 100 MA. A little bit of a rejection. If this goes sideways, it's going lower. I've got levels worked out on that as well. I will be a buyer of it in the future, but not right now. Platinum continues to be the outlier. It's only down 0.5% here. It was up decently earlier today. This is a little bit of a different one. If this consolidates, that can go higher, not lower. So that is actually hanging in there okay. That had a nice reaction off that falling wedge. You closed above the 200 yesterday, and you're basically just basing right there. If that does some more of it, it can go up. So platinum hanging in there okay. Again, 975 is kind of your near-term target there. And then copper just did not want to get to my 425 level. But nice dump there, down 3% on the day. Again, I've been saying copper's, this is a bounce for shorting here, and didn't quite get to my level there, but nice dump there. You see on the intraday, big sell off there, and it is, fractionally off the lows right now as it's pretty much oversold on the hourly. Stalled out right at that 50 moving average there. So we'll see. It's probably going to want to get through $4 and get to that 390 level, like we've been talking about for the last probably month or so. All right. Anyways, over to Bitcoin. There we go. So Bitcoin, again, hovering at that 24K area. Again, nothing really, can't really add anything to yesterday. You still have kind of a big inside bar with kind of a micro inside bar inside of that. So I would think if this is going to get going, it's probably going to want to do it soon, because you've been struggling with that 25K area for the last week. This should be able to push up here if this is going to do it. If not, it might be a case of where it just takes too long to break out and it rolls over. But for right now, I don't see any problems with the pattern here. You had a nice power bar, a little bit of a retrace, and then a nice smaller power bar inside of that right now above the moving averages. I can't really say anything bad about the pattern. Again, target is the same. If we do push higher, 27.5, 28,000 would be kind of your big level there on the upside. That is where a lot of bags are held. So anyways, guys, let's get back over to the spiders here. Let's see what we're doing. And basically hanging in there. Yeah, just near the highs of the day. So it looks like we're going to float up here into the close. Again, going into tomorrow, we'll be watching this kind of megaphone type pattern here. If we do push up into that, it probably will be resistance here tomorrow. Again, the big level, the only thing that matters here is that 400 handle on the spiders. That weekly close will tell us everything about where the market is going to go moving forward. Anyways, guys, going to wrap up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Talk to you all tomorrow.